Hello, everyone. Today's podcast is relatively short because I have not that much to update on, but what I do have to update on. Okay, so I was just there's this. Okay, never mind. I wanted to update on the state of affairs. You know what? It's not even that. So there has been a lot that has been going on, and it's so I don't want to bore or overshare, even though I fundamentally don't believe that there is such thing as oversharing, but I don't want to really make the podcast or the situation, whatever you want to call it, about that exactly, because then it's, I don't know, is that TMI? I don't really get any feedback. Not that many people watch these videos, so I am almost just deliberately giving out, putting myself out there. And it's really up to me. And that really reminds me, because I've been looking into privacy and looking into kind of how to not how to establish within yourself that line, that boundary, that you're never going to cross that or infringe yourself through that line crossing, because you always should know how to establish those boundaries within yourself, at least for how much you share, how much information you give about yourself. And it's always important to kind of consider, not so much for out of fear, or I wouldn't even say protection of self. It's more something like you're just being conscientious of what you put out into the world, and is it really other people's business to know anything about your personal life? Sure, you should make your beliefs known. You should stand up for all the things that would be kind of inherently virtuous, right? You should stand up for virtuous things. And it's kind of a tall task when you consider it in a social setting, because we take so much for granted, at least in first world countries. But I would even because you got to factor in a society what type of positive things we're putting into the minds of people, and the definite predispositions that come with even just the media that we put out there, the ways in which that we inform everybody. It's very it needs to be direct. It needs to be a lot more well informed than what it really is. My dog over here is getting upset with me. I feel like they're just trying to relax, and I keep making them move. So and so with not just entitlements, but also the direction of that society's going, it is our personal responsibility to continue forth what it is that people find of real value. You know, like if you're not going to add anything to society, then you really have to work on yourself, because you really should want that. And if you're not in it for those type of reasons, then what is it that you're in it for? Are you in it to succeed personally in just your own personal endeavors, or is it that you are trying to connect to a higher value or purpose or being or thing? That I don't fixate on those things too much, other than what I feel like in my personal life, right? And so when thinking about privacy and concerns of oversharing too much information, it's much easier to almost recognize that some things are better left internalized and some things are better left said, but it really depends contextually, because I'm just sharing this I'm sharing these videos on the internet, right? And even if we just look a little bit at the history of the internet and the way that things develop as a society, and kind of like almost like the internet comes in as a social aid, but really, if you think about it, then all things are social aids to a certain degree, because that's what helps humans, social creatures, which have created all of the infrastructures of the world. Then you have to consider that there's going to be things that are inherently wrong, that not everything is perfect, right? But us as humans, we still should be striving for those higher purposes and those higher values, because why are we only going to be selfish then? Are we only going to be able to look at oneself and project that all of the things in my life that are actually happening need to be known by everyone? And it's like, they really should, but only the people that matter, only the people that need to know that, right? So there's a level of choice there, and it's very striking to see how some people navigate those situations, but in a much more clear social setting, and that's really down to the individual, because for example, I have always lived on the internet. I've always grown up there and understood that this is almost like a cinema. The whole, like, life's the stage, right? And we're all just different actors in different plays, I suppose, or just one really big stage. And it's important to me that I address things that are important to me personally, but also things that everybody can understand. I don't want to be the type to go into situations and misplace things and information where they don't need to or belong or need to be. So it's like I'm trying to help for the most part, because to some, okay, let's look at I'm just gonna address it. It's the elephant in the room. I'm the elephant in the room. I'm steadily increasing in weight, and it doesn't surprise me because I've been going through a lot of stress. I have been not watching my diet. It's so obvious, that, well, but I have been working out, so I don't think that's obvious. I think it's obvious that I am gaining weight, but I don't know. Well, okay, so is it an excuse to gain weight when you're stressed? Just because it's going to affect your behaviors, just because it's going to affect the way that you treat your body with less compassion instead of more. And yes, it is. It's going to affect all of those things. But also, it's going to affect the way that you interpret things and deal with situations that, should they be happening, like, I think my personal grievances on a political spectrum are pretty well documented on the internet, at least as far as, would you consider social politics as a legitimate and completely separate thing other than socializing or just other forms of social communication, I guess? Because isn't communication all that being social is? Or that all of what the definition of social, like, and any offshoot of whatever social can mean, it would inherently include communication between things, just communication. Like, because if you go further than communication, then you have to specify, right? You have to specify specifically what, where you're placing this concept, this action, right? So I do apologize that my microphone is having technical difficulties. I'm having technical difficulties. And anyway, I think that's enough torture of an endless ramble of how I am and how I've been and how I'm doing, how I'm dealing with things, just the whole 9 yards. And yeah. So stick around. Don't be shy. Interact with me if you watch this video, because there's probably one of you that watch these videos. So just give the video a thumbs up. If you thumbs it down, which I'm sure you do, a lot of you probably do, because you don't want to see more of me. I don't take it personally. I know I'm not everybody's flavor cup of tea. Okay, goodbye.